episode 336 of the Various and Sundry podcast. I'm your host, Matt Harmon, joined live in the Vault Studio, the beautiful campus of Grace College and Grace Theological Seminary, by my good friend, my colleague, my co-host, and the man who is ready for round 2 today.
I hope so, yeah.
John Scott Sloat.
2 episodes isn't too bad. It's
we
when
did
we
a three-piece
we
one
did
time.
3 in a day, that was tough.
That was tough.
I think we breaked for lunch at one point. You know, it was a lot.
It was, yes. So we're recording this one in advance because when this drops on June 9th, you will be on vacation.
I'm on vacation, yeah.
Have you settled on where you're going? Are you going back down to Florida?
No, we're just going to Kentucky, Louisville.
Oh, that's right.
Louisville for 4 or 5 days.
Okay.
We'll be down there.
All right. Reliving your year of exile?
Yeah, we'll probably walk around the Southern Seminary down there.
Okay.
We'll probably
Make sure you're dressed properly when you go.
Yeah, make sure I have my collared shirt on. We'll probably...
You got to stop at the bookstore.
Stop at the bookstore, yeah. Andrea's never been down there, so it'll be fun to show Andrea. Walk around my old neighborhood, go to some coffee shops I used to go to, and
of course,
probably do a handful of other things.
Okay, so to what degree does Andrea share your love of coffee? Now, I know since she's
0. She
nursing,
does not share. She does not drink coffee.
Okay.
I think
at all.
No, she does not drink coffee at all.
Even like food coffee drink kind of stuff?
No, I mean maybe once in the 5 years we've been married, 5 or 6 years we've been married.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does she drink caffeine at all?
No, not really.
Interesting. So she simply tolerates sounds like too harsh a term, but like, you know, when you travel, you love looking up a good coffee shop.
Yeah. I mean, I think she enjoys coffee shop aesthetics.
The ambiance.
She enjoys a good cup of decaf tea.
Okay.
So that's normally the route she goes.
Gotcha.
And we'll probably hit up a Heine Brothers while we're down there. Mm-hmm. Maybe a Quill's Coffee in Louisville.
All right.
We'll hit some good restaurants, I'm sure. Good restaurants in Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah.
We'll walk around the seminary, walk around the mall.
Okay.
Parks. Zoo. We'll go to the zoo.
Yeah. You had your first zoo experience recently with...
This is 2 weeks in a row now. We're ruining my one thing I like ahead of time. Yes.
All right. I'll stop that conversation thread right there. So, but if you would like to get in touch with the show and ask John about his favorite coffee shops.
Are you on vacation next week? Are you going anywhere next week or are you here?
I will be coming back from Omaha on Monday of next week.
Okay.
So I could have recorded on Tuesday morning if you were around, which is fine. But
no, I'm not coming back till like Wednesday afternoonish. So, but maybe Thursday we go golfing.
Okay.
That would be a realistic thing for us to do.
Okay. I can be down with that.
Okay.
I can be down with that.
Yeah.
If you'd like to contact the show, you can find us on X at VNSPod.
The VNS golf outing.
So should we get the pod to pay for it?
That'd be great.
If there were actually sufficient funds.
If there were sufficient funds for that.
You can find us via email, variousandsundrypodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook and on YouTube, and we would love for you to leave a 5-star rating on whatever platform you access the show. All right, John, since we're recording a week out, which is
tough for sports,
it's
particularly
tough.
with the NBA Finals going on.
It is tough for sports, yes, because...
Or concluded. I suppose they could be done by now.
No, I think we'd only be 3 games in.
Okay.
Because it goes Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. So, 3 games in before this episode would drop, I think.
Okay.
So, do you have any predictions about where the series will stand at that point?
Well, now that the Knicks are up 3-0,
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see. One thing that I thought would be interesting to talk about is let's talk about bucket list sporting events.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be like it can either involve your team or not. So you might pick your team. You might say, for example, I would love to go see the Jets play somebody in this stadium or something like that, or play in an AFC championship game or a Super Bowl or whatever. So it could be more specific to, like, I'll give you an example. One of mine would be to go to an Ohio State versus the team up north game.
Okay.
Now, I'm not independently wealthy, and so that's difficult to pull off. But yeah, I would love to do that. Now, there's also a part of me that doesn't want to do that because if you lose that game, you walk out and it's a miserable feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So what about you? Why don't you give me one from –
Yeah, so I have never been to see a Mets game in their new stadium.
Oh, really? Okay.
And so I would like to go to Queens and have good seats.
Yeah, that makes a difference.
At Citi Field. I've never been to Citi Field. I've been to Shea as a kid, but have never been to Citi Field since it opened in 2010.
Wow.
2011, something like that. I have not been to a home Mets game.
You've been to a number of road games.
A number. I've been to 2 or 3 in Cincinnati. I've been to
in Chicago at Wrigley, probably.
Yeah, 1 or 2 in Chicago at Ridley. I've been to at least 2 in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
I've been – where else have I been? I feel like Milwaukee. I've been to 2 games in one game? 2 games in Milwaukee.
Okay. Yeah.
1 game in Milwaukee. I can't remember. But yeah, so I've been to a number of other stadiums, but I have not been to Citi Field. So going to Citi Field for a game would be awesome.
Okay. Very nice. Very nice. One other thing that I considered, but see, I don't know that I would want to do this unless I had great seats.
Mm-hmm. Could we just presume for all of these that great seats is a requirement?
We could.
Is that
well, I mean, so what came to mind was going to a Final Four.
Yeah.
You've been to a Final Four.
I have been to a Final Four.
But you had some
second to last row at the Superdome.
Nosebleed seats.
Yeah, second to last row at the Superdome.
I remember you sending me pictures and being like, I think I can see the floor from there. Like
you could not see the net. Like the net, it was too far away to see the net.
Right.
Like you see the orange rim.
Yeah.
And they had the nets mic'd so that when the ball went through the net, you heard it.
Right.
And that's how you knew the ball went through the net.
Made, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you need good seats for a Final Four.
Yeah.
Now, at a Final Four, though, that floor is often elevated.
Yes.
I don't know. Would that change the viewing experience for you?
I mean, I think unless you were pretty low, probably not.
Like on the floor.
Yeah, basically like if you were –
first row.
Yeah. I don't think I would enjoy that at all. Like I have regularly thought to myself when I see those floors, I think if you're like on the bench, that's a miserable viewing experience because basically the level of the floor is about, it's sunken so far that, it's like most guys' heads are probably like the level of guys like maybe their knees at best. And you're like,
why do they do that? Is that for?
I don't know why they.
Is that for TV purposes?
They must. I don't know.
Anyway, so Final Four.
I think so.
I would love to be at a Super Bowl. I've never been to a Super Bowl, but I would love good seats at a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Probably. That wouldn't necessarily hit super high on my list, but yeah. I mean,
really? Not a Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Depends on who the halftime show is for you. Is that?
Probably because I'd have to tolerate whoever the halftime show is. I guess you could go out to the concourse for concessions, but Yeah. I think I would probably pick going to a Game 7 at the World Series.
Yeah, Game 7 at the World Series would be a lot of fun.
And even if I didn't have like a direct rooting interest in the team.
Yeah.
Like I just think the atmosphere, the environment, I think that would be very intense and very enjoyable.
Oh yeah.
So
absolutely.
So yeah, I think that'd be fun.
I almost said this. What do you think about seeing a team play a game like an NFL or college team play a game outside of the United States? Like when the NFL goes to
London,
or I was thinking Notre Dame in Ireland.
Yeah,
that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. I don't know how high that would hit for me, but see, it would have to be professional because I feel like part of what you get at the college level is just like all the pageantry,
sure,
of the home stadium and that kind of thing. And you're not getting that at, when they're traveling to Dublin to play. Like, yeah, the band travels and that sort of thing, but, you got a decent number of novelty fans who are like, what's this American football thing? I'll throw a couple $100 to go in to see it, and, so, yeah, I don't know. I think it could be really fun to go to Wimbledon and watch.
Oh yeah,
a great like a finals.
Yeah, that'd be fun
in Wimbledon on the men's side. Get one of these like 5-set matches, and or maybe the French, like Wimbledon is a more historic in my mind but like
buttoned up. But
with the grass courts, points don't last as long. It's more of a power game. The French Open played on clay, longer rallies, that kind of stuff. I don't know.
So remind me if I'm wrong, but Wimbledon, if there's like a rainout or something, they'll open up the gates to whoever, for lack of a better term, the riffraff of society gets in for those games and is just raucous a little bit more. I think that would be fun to be at.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true. I don't know either way. But I also – I think going to the final round at the Masters would be –
Yeah, the final round at the Masters. Being on the 18th green.
Yeah. Well, and even just you see it to some degree occasionally. Like you see the Masters on TV and you can't fully appreciate how much change in elevation there is until they show certain shots and your jaw drops and you're like, oh my gosh, look at that green. That's like it feels like it looks like it's a 45-degree angle out there.
Yeah.
Like how does any putt stop there, or things like that. So I think that would probably land up there as something that would be a bucket list thing of wanting to do. So. Well, that was fun. Something a little different there. But I think we need to move on, John, to our main topic of the day. And that is The Return of the Kingdom, Part 2.
Yeah, just for clarity, the book is not broken into these Part 1, Part 2s.
Correct.
We're just doing
We're just breaking it up for easier discussion. And, trying to get through it in 4 episodes, it's, basically 200 pages. So we're doing about 50 pages an episode here. And as we pick up here, we're starting with the patriarchal narratives and the kingdom of God. He has 2 chapters on that. And we're going to get our way through Deuteronomy, basically. So let's talk the patriarchs. Start with good old Father Abraham. Anything that you want to start with here in terms of talking about good old Abe?
Good old Abe. I appreciated the land descendants and cutting section where it talked about the cutting of the covenant. I always I remember the first time I read something about that and how much that opened up my eyes for me. So it's just good to revisit it.
Yeah.
A little bit. How about you?
I appreciated his discussion of the of Genesis 12, 1 through 3. I marveled at his ability to kind of summarize briefly what's going on there, and yet do it without feeling like you're leaving anything out.
Yeah.
And really, he wrote his book Dominion and Dynasty is really essentially trying to argue that what you see there in Genesis 12 kind of provides the roadmap for the rest of the Old Testament.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm impressed that he managed to boil it down into just a few pages there. But I think that on page 58 when he mentions that Moses could have chosen a word talking about the word nation. He says he could have chosen a word that implies kinship and one that implies many people. But the chosen word, the Hebrew word goy, emphasizes more the political and social rather than kinship bonds, and usually requires a common language, a defined territory, a sizable population, and an institutional authority. And so I think that's a helpful distinction there of what's in view there in Genesis 12. So, and then I also appreciated his discussion of the near sacrifice of Isaac on page 61. And he's got a really helpful footnote here, and he's talking about how basically the story of Isaac being born is followed very quickly by God telling Abraham to sacrifice Isaac. But then he's got a footnote where he says there's a difference between narrative time and real time. The events of Genesis 22 immediately follow that of Genesis 21, but many years have passed since Isaac is the one who is doing the heavy lifting in Genesis 22. He is probably a teenager, perhaps around 15 years old. Which that puts into perspective kind of what's going on there, right? That, at 15, Isaac probably would have been capable to some degree of fighting back and resisting if he had chosen to, right?
Yeah. Particularly given Abraham's age.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, by that point, he's at least 115-ish, right?
Yeah.
So, the boy's got 100 years on him. So, but yeah, I think, and even how he shows in that section here how through the birth of Isaac, life is triumphing over death. And that's in a very small scale, a reversal of what you see happening in Genesis 3. So, anything else there in that chapter?
I don't think so. I mean, he does an incredibly succinct job of capturing Abraham in his story here.
Yeah. I'll note the paragraph on 62 towards the bottom. If this test shows Abraham's absolute commitment to God and God's absolute commitment to him, these commitments display expectations of kingdom life. The greatest commandment in the kingdom will be to place love for God above every other love, but God is committed to no less a love for the citizens of the kingdom. This is supremely shown in the provision of the lamb for the sacrifice. Someday God himself will experience the cutting of the covenant as his citizens will eat of his body and drink his blood to experience true life. He just drops those gems of lines in there along the way where gives you that little appetizer of here's how it's going to point forward to Christ. This is really good. So I've never heard him preach. I'm interested. I would have to imagine he's pretty good in the pulpit too.
He was great in classroom. He was great.
Yeah, I just have
he
to
was really enjoyable to hear teach.
Yeah. relatively animated for a Canadian.
Yeah, I would say above average.
We'll be sure to bring that up with him when we interview him.
Yeah.
We've determined you're an above average Canadian. All right. Then he moves on in the next chapter to basically Jacob and his 12 sons, as well as including the Joseph narrative, getting to the end of Genesis. Basically.
Yeah, and specifically focusing on Judah toward the end of the chapter. Why is Jacob talked about so little in biblical theology, in your estimate? Right? Like, am I just imagining that?
I mean, I'm not sure that I'm not sure that I have an answer for that. I don't know that I've necessarily noticed. What do you mean? You mean you just don't see?
I think I was surprised to see Jacob show up in sort of his grand narrative of. I think or specifically focusing on sort of his two encounters with God. I think I was surprised to see those there, and it just caused me to think, why don't we see more of Jacob?
Yeah, I think part of it is because he's really the fountainhead of the nation of Israel, right?
Yeah.
And so the line kind of gets blurry between
Person and nation.
him as patriarch of the nation and the foundation of the nation itself. I think it is interesting that he spends so much time talking about his encounters with God. And I'm trying to remember if he specifically says this, or I'm just sort of remembering or sort of making a conclusion. But I wonder how much of that is, you think about what's distinctive about Adam and Eve's experience in the garden, and it's that they have such direct contact with God himself. But yeah, I think his discussion here of Jacob's encounter with God is really compelling. What in particular stood out to you?
I mean, beyond the fact that we're just talking about it, and I think I had forgotten that this is where he gets renamed in sort of his second encounter. Right? He's out there going out to meet Esau, wrestles with the Lord, and I was curious. What do you make of Genesis 32:28? There, your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel, for you have struggled with humans and God, and won. What do you make of that? Because I think I take it like almost like he won the wrestling match. I don't know that it's necessarily.
No, I wouldn't take it. I mean, we hear that term "won" and think like defeated, and I think it's more of endured to the end and got the outcome he wanted. Not so much that he defeated God and man, but he got the blessing he wanted, and that he, in essence, hung on for dear life and basically refused to let go of God until he blessed him. So I think that's intended as a picture, obviously. And so, yeah, I think that's how I've read it. I think his section on page 68 is so good on the face-to-face element.
Yeah.
Again, pointing out some of the wordplay in here. Jacob has struggled and overcome. Jacob struggled at the Jabbok, all of those words sounding similar, having similar roots. And when he is born again as Israel, he changes the name of Jabbok to Paniel, face of God. So even in Israel and Paniel, you can hear the word El, God, in there. And so, and further on he goes, to be engaged in a struggle to get the blessing to bless the world and to wrestle for it with God himself and to be crippled and to survive this encounter, he becomes a new Adam, a new royalty. Jacob is no longer the controller. God is. Thus Israel bequeaths his name to the nation. Now, as Israel, who has seen God face to face and survived, he moves to the head of the family procession to meet his dreaded enemy face to face. He now reaches out to greet him, to embrace him, and sees his face as the face of God. So yeah, I just love his treatment of that passage, that section there. And again, linking it to it's. I think sometimes we can read that story very individualistically. Oh, look at Jacob. He persevered, and he's like, I'm not going to let you go until you bless me, God. And we think very individualistically, rather than like, no, this is like redemptive historical stuff here. Like, not that it's not personal, but that him overcoming is part of the larger flow of redemptive history. So to be a blessing to the world, not just for his own personal benefit. What about the Joseph section?
I really enjoyed the Joseph section. I appreciated how he elevated the royal aspects of Joseph's story that when you think about it for 5 minutes makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
Right. But I like the way he wove Judah in there as well. Right. You start with Joseph having his dreams that he's telling his brothers about where, there's clearly royal elements there.
Right.
Ends up imprisoned and ultimately rises to a place of as a part of the royal group there in Egypt. And I particularly like the way he weaves in Judah because Judah's story is fascinating, particularly at the end of Genesis when there's all these blessings coming from Jacob at the end of his life, and one of them is that the scepter will not depart from Judah, not Joseph.
Right.
Which is interesting.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. And even by that point, knowing what a deeply flawed person Judah is.
Yes, absolutely.
That it's not because Judah has clearly distinguished himself as the moral leader of the family. Nope.
Well, so I don't think that – so Reuben's the oldest, right? He sins and never talks to his dad about it, right? Then Simeon and who am I missing? There's another son in there, and they go kill a bunch of people.
Oh, yes. Hey, we'll let you marry our daughter.
Just get circumcised.
Our sister if you get circumcised, and then they kill them all when they're healing from circumcision.
And then Judah's the next one.
Yeah.
And Judah has his bit with is it Tamar?
Yes.
However, Judah is like, I'm awful.
He does own it.
I don't know if repentance. I'm not sure it's that strong in the text, but he definitely acknowledges his own sin and doesn't hide it.
Yep.
And makes amends. And I don't know. I always point that out when I'm teaching or when I have taught exploring the Bible in the past, right? That you have sort of the eldest brothers really screwing up.
Yeah.
And none of them are owning it except Judah. And that is ultimately who through whom we get the Lord. We get Jesus.
Yeah. And I love that he touches on the series of blessings that Jacob gives to his children, focusing on Judah and that promise of the scepter never departing from Judah, and at least hints at ways that that's picked up later in the biblical storyline in Psalm 72 and then Psalm 89 connected to David. But it also gets picked up, interestingly enough, in Zechariah 9:9, which we know is quoted in the Gospels. That's the behold, your king is coming, seated on a donkey. It's that text, and that text actually alludes back to Genesis 49, 9, and 10 here, which is interesting. But in any case, that's one of those sections where a good grasp of that text really opens up some things for the biblical storyline for you.
Yeah.
And it makes sense why he focuses so much on it. We need to move on to the next one, getting to the Exodus finally here.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I appreciate so much about reading through this book is that I feel like he does a nice job of pulling things out that you're like, this is a familiar story, and yet by the way he makes some connections, you're like, that sheds some new light on what's going on there. Or
he's really good at that.
Or it really helps you see things maybe that you've not fully appreciated before, right?
Yeah.
So, even his discussion of the Exodus and its connection to the establishment of God's kingdom, even on 78, the firstborn son, talking about the Passover plague, firstborn son represented the future ruler of Egypt, while the firstborn son of God, Israel, represented the future rule of the world. No firstborn son, no rule. Firstborn son, rule. Just again, some of those categories, it's really helpful to see that plague was not sort of, what God thinking, well, what can I do? No, there's real symbolic value to the reality of what's happening there.
Well, he also connects Moses back to Noah.
Yep.
And, and he extended because, I took biblical theology with Matt Harmon at Grace Seminary. And I know that the basket that Moses is put in is, same word for ark, right? Mm-hmm. And so I knew there's a Noah connection there where I think he's helpful is extending it beyond that, where he says, on 77, for this Moses, this new Noah becomes a prince of Egypt who will lead his nation through the deep waters to the other side. Mm-hmm. And that's just this is almost an extension of Noah, where Noah led his family through the waters, mm-hmm. right? Moses is going to lead a people.
Yes.
It's interesting.
And I would say that connection between Moses and Noah and connecting the Exodus to the flood prepares the way for what Isaiah is going to do in connecting the new Exodus with mm-hmm. the new creation. That connection is already embedded in Genesis and Exodus, and Isaiah takes it next level in looking forward. So, bottom of 79, the goal of this salvation and liberation is nothing less than God living with his people on his holy mountain, in his sanctuary, under his reign, mm-hmm. Which really kind of captures that well. And then he has a lengthy section kind of talking about the covenant requirements given there in Exodus. And I think one thing that he points out, he's not unique in pointing this out, but I think this helps people read Exodus better. On 83, it is important to understand that these laws reflect the cultural moment of Israel as well as representing patterns or legal precedents. They are not intended to be exhaustive legislation, but simply examples of legislation that function as models. And then tying it to at the bottom of that page of Israel being a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. So I think his treatment of the Exodus, of course, is excellent. And when he gets to the golden calf incident, he does come back. I think this is intentional. He labels that section FaceTime, which is not just a funny, homage to a current technology, but it gets back to Jacob and his encounter with God, seeing the face of God.
Yeah.
And so, I just think his treatment there is really good. And he's got a nice little summary on the bottom of 88 on the summary of God's revelation of his name, how he kind of breaks it down into identity, character, and actions. So Yahweh, Yahweh, that's his identity.
Yep.
And then character, a merciful and gracious God, long-suffering and full of steadfast love and faithfulness. And then a series of actions, maintaining steadfast love for thousands, forgiving iniquity, rebellion, and sin, but certainly not acquitting the guilty, visiting the sins of the fathers upon their children and the grandchildren to the third and fourth generation. I think the clarity there is just really, really helpful.
And from a maybe this is obvious, but from a biblical theological perspective, this reverberates throughout the Old Testament.
Yeah, lots of allusions back to Exodus 34:6. So, all right, one more chapter here we have to touch on.
Okay.
Dealing more with kind of Leviticus and through Deuteronomy, dealing with issues of atonement and holiness, as well as touching on the promise of the divine king in Numbers. So there was something in here. Let's see if I can find it.
Earlier we talked about the golden calf just a few minutes ago, and in there he calls it Israel's original sin. Mm-hmm. And then he says in Numbers that it's revisited again when they refused to
enter the land,
to enter the land and conquer it the way the Lord told them to.
Yeah,
and I thought that was interesting that he would link those two events together.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yes. So one thing that stood out to me on 99 as he gets into Deuteronomy is his discussion of the future servant king. Mm-hmm. He notes that the requirements for the king in Deuteronomy 17 are unique in the ancient world. There's nothing like that they found in any other sort of A&E literature. And really when you read through that, it's intentionally distinguishing him from what all of the ancient Near Eastern kings were like in terms of the things that he's not supposed to do or the exact kind of things that ancient Near Eastern kings did. And to try to distinguish him. So what did you think of this? On page 101, he's talking about the Ten Commandments and then linking it to the rest of the law. But here in Deuteronomy in particular, midway through 101, he says, Moses is thus interpreting the Decalogue, opening it up instead of shutting down its relevance through a woodenly literal understanding. If the Decalogue is the grammar of the law, the statutes and decrees of Deuteronomy 12 through 26 are the expression of the language of the law, how to apply the grammatical rules in everyday speech and life. Now, I know that analogy is only going to work with a certain part of the crowd, right? But I do think that's a helpful, the grammar of a language sets the rules.
Sure.
But then you use the grammar to communicate. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a helpful way of describing the Ten Commandments as they are then kind of expanded and interpreted and applied to different circumstances there in Deuteronomy 12 through 26.
Yeah, I think that's very helpful and makes a lot of sense. Albeit if it's not the most.
It's only going to hit a certain portion of your.
Yeah, audience. Well, I'm trying to think of another one. Would it be like laws and then ruling on those laws, or mm-hmm. I'm trying to think of another one. I can't. But.
And then I wanted to hit one more thing here. I like that he ends that chapter basically focusing on. This is towards the bottom of 103, it's clear that the citizens of the kingdom need something that only God can finally give, a new heart. Moses makes this exact point at a critical part of the discourse. Israel needs to circumcise its heart to be able to keep the Shema and to be loyal to the covenant and their divine suzerain. So that's obviously going to help set things up pointing towards the future. But yeah, I think, again, one of the things that he's just so good at dropping these hints along the way of how this is going to point forward. So anything else there before we move on?
I don't think so.
Time now for This Day in Sports History.
All right, this day in sports history, June the 9th, 2026.
Mm-hmm.
All right, 1943, New York Giant Mel Ott becomes the first manager in Major League Baseball history to be ejected from both games of a doubleheader.
Now, see, that takes some skill. Or at least I should say it takes some intentionality.
Yeah.
That kind of feels like I'm still ticked about the first game, and I'm going to get my money's worth by getting tossed from the second.
And the Giants lost to both to the Pirates.
Yeah.
1973, the 105th Belmont Stakes, Ron Turncote, I've pronounced this before.
It's the third time it's come up.
A board secretariat wins in 2 minutes and 24 seconds, becoming the first Triple Crown winner in 25 years. Secretariat was a real force of nature.
A beyond generational horse. Yes.
Maybe the greatest athlete of our time. Well, of a time, not our time. 1985, French Open men's tennis, Sweden's Mats Wilander wins fourth career Grand Slam title. He beats the Czech star Ivan Lendl.
Yes, close. So Mats Wilander. And Ivan Lendl.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Also in 1985, NBA championship at the Boston Garden, the LA Lakers beat the Celtics 111-100 for a 4-2 series victory. MVP Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Okay, so here's my question. Is Victor Wembanyama ever going to develop the skyhook? Because if he adds that to his game,
he's unstoppable.
He's going to be unbelievable. I mean, he's already got the perimeter skill and everything, but put him back to the basket a little bit, and with that height, that little skyhook thing,
unblockable.
He needs to get Kareem down there in the summer and work on that.
1996 French Open men's tennis, Yevgeny.
Yep, that's right, Yevgeny
Kafelnikov. Oh boy, of Russia wins his first Grand Slam title. He beats Germany's Michael Stich.
Kafelnikov.
Whatever, man. 2011, Boston University Center for the Study of Traumatic Encephalopathy.
Encephalopathy.
Okay. Announces an agreement to examine the brains of recently deceased San Francisco 49er football player Joe Perry and John Henry Johnson for signs of injury.
Okay, I feel like that concussion stuff kind of blew up around that time, and there was like a 3-4 year window where there was a lot of media interest and all that sort of stuff, and then it just kind of faded.
Yeah. I think they've done a lot to limit the number of concussions, but I think the money is just too good.
Yeah.
That's my sense. Like they've changed a lot of rules.
They have changed a lot of rules, and they've changed equipment as well, with the helmets in particular. So, but I mean, I remember around that time, there was actually discussion here at Grace about adding a football team.
Yeah, there would have been.
And this issue was one of several issues that led to the institution saying it's not a good idea. It wasn't the only reason, but part of it was a concern of, are we going to have guys that come through here, play football, and then sue the institution 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 25 years from now for injuries that they say are not handled properly, and you're opening yourself up to massive damages, or having to carry huge insurance policies to, cover those sorts of things.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. 100%.
All right. Who do you like out of this? I'm guessing it's not Yevgeny Kafelnikov.
It is not. I might go Mel Ott.
Yeah?
Being tossed in both doubleheaders?
Yeah. I can go with that.
Yeah, you okay? Did you have somebody else in mind you'd like to make a case?
No, I think that's the way to go. I think that's the way to go. That caught my attention when I was doing the prep, so we'll go with that. One thing you liked?
Had Mia's first trip to the zoo.
Yeah.
Last weekend, and she was mostly uninterested in animals.
I mean, she is what, 6?
7 months. Although there was a stare down with an orangutan that happened, so
okay,
maybe she didn't scream,
okay,
which is a positive thing.
Yeah,
and she definitely looked at animals.
All right,
but I can't say that she was like excited either.
Yeah.
So
and I'm sure you were relieved that there were no large birds roaming freely.
Yeah, there were large birds. They were not roaming freely.
Yes.
Correct.
You have a significant dislike.
Emu, ostriches, yeah. I really just do not like them.
One of my clearest memories of our mystery trip to Sydney, Australia, was going to the zoo there. And they allowed emus just to walk freely.
Yeah.
And you being very uncomfortable
yeah.
with the emus just walking freely among us.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with, this is a preemptive one. Since we're recording a week in advance. My intention on part of this road trip, at least, to Omaha, is to listen to Joseph LeConte's book, The War for Middle-earth, Tolkien and Lewis Confront the Gathering Storm. Have you heard of this, read this?
I feel like I've heard this.
There's a book before this about the Hobbit and World War I, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's about in preparation of World War II, right?
Correct.
Or in World War II.
1933 to 1945. So before the start of World War II and then into World War II.
Okay.
Yeah. Which it'll be interesting because there have been lots of attempts to kind of interpret Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings as an allegory of World War II, and it just falls flat. I mean, there are larger thematic elements that you can pull out there, but
sure,
it's not. Tolkien did not sit down to write an allegory of World War II.
Yeah,
and even just the fact that World War II is kind of what put Lewis on the map as a public figure, with his radio addresses that eventually became turned into his book, Mere Christianity.
Yeah.
So that is our one thing we liked. All right, John, we have talked Return of the Kingdom, Part 2. So for the next episode, you will want to read chapters 10 through 13 to keep up with us. That covers basically the former prophets through the writings, basically gets through the rest of the Old Testament. We have talked about Mel Ott, double dipping on the ejection. We have talked about Mia's first trip to the zoo.
Yeah, it's a good trip.
And we have talked about an audiobook that I intend to listen to on the trip. So I think, by definition, we have covered our various and sundry topics. And so all that's left to say is, until next time, the Lord bless y'all real good.
Later.